D11 Sports outside today at the Lehigh Valley Zoo with the COO and Matt Province. And Matt, thanks a lot for taking some time joining us outside, with your goats behind you. How's it been here? Obviously, this time of day, usually there's a lot of people out enjoying a walk through the zoo and having a good time. And over the last 6 weeks, it hasn't been that way. Talk about what's been going on here at the zoo.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird, and it's kind of unfortunate because we have such a nice resource here in the valley to our residents of the valley and of the greater region to be able to come here with their families and learn a little bit about the animals and educate themselves on conservation. And we pour all this effort into it. The animals still need to be fed, they still need to be cared for, they still need enrichment, but then there's nobody here to enjoy it. And so obviously from a financial standpoint, it's not obviously the best thing for business for the zoo, but I think more from a humanistic standpoint, it's unfortunate to have days like this go by the wayside without that chance to educate.
Speaking of education, you get kids in here all the time, not only looking at animals, but learning from animals. Is that one of the things that you and your staff missed a lot?
Yeah, one of our, you look at our mission statement, and it's imperative that we educate. That's one of the things that we have really tried hard to, and be a leader in conservation. So when you get a captive audience, especially if you have school groups, all of May is typically school groups, several schools a day, and we have our educators teaching them about all the different animals, about ways they can help animals in the species, a way to conservation in their normal lives, such as our Strike Out Single-Use Plastics campaign. We're losing all these touch points and chances to educate by not being open.
What about the animals? Do they feel, or do they know that there's no humans really coming around here except the staff?
I think for the most part, many of them sense something is different. Not that we get a ton of people during the winter when they're out, but now it's been a long time since they've seen lines of people. And some animals I think notice more than others. I'll give you a good example. The goats behind me, typically when there's a grain machine out and people can feed them, they would be flocking to this fence behind me to get food, which obviously is not available right now. Our otters, they love to show off. They'll come up to anybody and swim and look at them and stand up on the rocks. The penguins are the first animal that you see when you come into the zoo. I think they know that. So I do believe there is this feeling of something's not right for the animals, and I think some of them probably miss the people, and others that are a little bit more reticent by nature probably don't.
Target date to open for people out there, trying to get an idea of, when is the zoo going to be open? A place that people love to come here, just, whether it's with their strollers and their kids, or just, take a walk and see the giraffes, or see the goats, or see the other animals.
Well, right now, we're pretty much at the mercy of what's decided above. So our messaging right now is that we'll be temporarily closed until, we follow the guidelines as set forth by the governor. It changes every day, the news, the information, what states are doing. So we are going to be ready. We're going to keep ready by keeping things clean, by getting ourselves ready for things such as social distancing and keeping 6 feet apart, and cleaning supplies, policies that will keep everybody healthy when they get a chance to come back to the zoo. That's kind of priority number one right now, is that when we reopen, which hopefully, we keep hoping that maybe it'll be end of May or beginning of June. We don't know, so we have to be ready to make sure we are when the go sign goes up.
St. Luke's Pediatrics delivers the care you expect for your child, now and for their future. Choose a St. Luke's pediatrician today.
What do you miss most with not seeing, the people here at the zoo?
A couple things come to mind. First of all, you see the kids, holding a mom or grandmom or granddad or dad's hand, and they're just so excited. They're kind of tugging along their supervisor, so to speak, whoever it might be, and just seeing them laugh and smile when they get a chance to see the animals. That, it sounds kind of cheesy, but for me, a guy that spent a lot of time in professional sports, and I love seeing kids smile at a big hit or an autograph or whatever it might be. Now in this walk of life, I see the same thing, that they are so excited about an opportunity to take in what they normally would not, which is an animal that is obviously, from the wild, not something that would be a domestic pet. I think I missed that the most. And then secondly, just crowds, just seeing people here in large numbers, radioing to the concession stands to make sure they have all the supplies they need, and bustling this way to make sure the grain machine is full for the goats, and then running off to make sure the bathrooms are clean. That's what we do. We host people. We want large crowds. We love when we have large crowds. And right now we have no crowds. So I think that's been kind of tough to deal with.
Animals eat food. They eat a lot of food. You have a lot of animals in here. First of all, how many animals do you have in the zoo, and what are you doing, financially, to get them fed?
Yeah, well, we're at 280 animals, and so it's a pretty nice collection. One of the things that people, may not necessarily realize on the surface is that, the zoo's not open, but we still need to care for these animals, and we're not going to slack not only on the food, but their care and their enrichments, that they continuously stay mentally engaged. That's very big in the AZA world, to make sure that we're taking care of these animals properly and that they are enriching themselves to keep themselves stimulated mentally. It's estimated that our food costs are roughly between $700 and $800 a day, and the care for an animal or the animals is about $2,500 a day for everything, food and care. So the prices are there. Fortunately, we have very good supporters, followers. We're in the middle of a week of a matching campaign for donations during Giving Tuesday Now week. And so there are things happening. We're selling animal paintings on Etsy. We're selling memberships. We're still doing things, and that helps to feed the animals. And really, we've been blessed that the Valley's been so generous, because otherwise we would be in a little bit more trouble than we are if we didn't have such a generous following to help us cut into the costs that we absolve on a daily basis here.
And finally, talk about the following that you have and the message you want to send out to all your loyal members and future members that will be making their way at one point in time back here to the zoo.
Well, we're a small zoo, but at the same time, that intimate ability to have an intimate experience is different than some of the larger zoos. We might not have the collection of animals that you'll find in Philadelphia or San Diego or Columbus or wherever, but what we have, you get close to. There are a lot of interactive experiences, such as feeding our giraffe, being present when the keepers feed the penguins, etc., that you can get up and close and really learn a lot. So, really for me, the message is that come out as soon as you can when we get open. I know that some people are going to be strapped due to the current situation, but we try to make it a very good experience for you and your family. It's what we do. It's making sure that we entertain, but with an education and conservation component to it. And I have yet to meet anybody in my year being here that has not had a good time when they've come to the Lehigh Valley Zoo. So we'll make sure that stays consistent even when we reopen.
Matt Province, the COO of the Lehigh Valley Zoo, thanks for taking some time and joining us here on DL11sports.com.
My pleasure.